Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wassalamu ala Rasulullah. We continue reading from Imam Al-Ghazali's Al-Quran with all the jewels of the Quran and spares. We are still reading from Surah An-Naml, the ants, and we have reached in our reading the story of Queen of Sheba with Sulaiman alayhi salam, Prophet and King Solomon. And we were not. The story is a bit long, and we did not finish reading it. And we have reached verse 40. And verse 40 says, this is when just a little bit of background. So far, we have the Hoopoe bringing news to Sayyidina Sulaiman alayhi salam. He was absent. Sulaiman alayhi salam was upset. He threatened if there is no good excuse, he would punish the Hoopoe or even slaughter the Hoopoe bird, the hudhud. And he told Sulaiman alayhi salam when he showed up that he saw the Queen of Sheba, that she has great dominion, that she has a great throne, and he asked him to take a letter, and he did. Her response was, she consulted with her community. They told her that we are strong. Like if you decide to go to war with Sulaiman, of course, alayhi salam, if you decide to go to war, that's the meaning of we are strong, but it's up to you. She decided to send a gift, and the Sayyidina Sulaiman was offended by the gift. He was upset because he practically, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed to him what was never availed to anyone before him or after him. And in the books of exegesis, there is the notion that she was testing him also. Had he accepted the gift, then he's simply a king, a worldly king. And if he rejects, then he's a prophet. If he were simply a king, then she was willing to fight, because a worldly king would not have the same resolve as a prophet. At any rate, she decided ultimately to go and meet with Sulaiman alayhi salam. In the meanwhile, since he already knew about her throne, he asked his entourage who could bring him her throne before they arrive. And let's look at the language. أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قال يا أيها الملأ أيكم يأتيني بعرشها قبل أن يأتوني مسلمين. So he asked them, Sulaiman alayhi salam, he asked his people, O chiefs, so which of you can bring me her throne before they come to me in full submission? In full submission, literally becoming Muslim. This is not about a peace treaty. This is not about a truce. And in the books of tafsir, they understood this story as the following. He could not take it after they become Muslim. That's how they have interpreted this. He could not take it after they become Muslim. But it was also, we know that it was a test for her. So he asked his entourage, and we have two responses. قال عفريت من الجن أنا آتيك به قبل أن تقوم من مقامك وإني عليه لقوي أمين. One mighty jinn responded, I can bring it to you before you rise from this council of yours, and I'm quite strong and trustworthy for this task, for this. But we have a better offer. قال الذي عنده علم من الكتاب أنا آتيك به قبل أن يرتد إليك طرفك. But the one who had knowledge of the scripture said, I can bring it to you in the blink of an eye. In the book of exegesis, uh, it was suggested that this is Asif ibn Barkhia, but it's not the person. They said that this ilm min al-kitab was about knowing Ism Allah al-Azam. He knew Ism Allah al-Azam, the greatest, I mean, the majestic name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with which he was empowered. فلما رآه مستقرا عنده قال هذا من فضل ربي ليبلوني أأشكر أم أكفر ومن شكر فإنما يشكر لنفسه ومن كفر فإن ربي غني كريم فإن ربي غني كريم. So after this person suggested to bring the hair throne in a blink of an eye, we have it's instantly. So when Solomon saw it placed before him, he exclaimed, this is by Sayyidina Sulaiman alayhi salam. This is Solomon, Prophet Sulaiman alayhi salam. This is by the grace of my Lord to test me whether I am grateful or ungrateful. And whoever is grateful, it is only for their own good. But whoever is ungrateful, surely my Lord is self-sufficient, most generous. Subhanallah. Being grateful today in the field of motivation, they keep telling people, just list 3 things that you are grateful for. when تعدوا نعمة الله لا تحصوها. You should be able to list according to your knowledge the more knowledgeable you are, you should be able to list more gifts and favors of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The very fact that you exist is a gift on its own. And if you are able to enjoy the 5 senses, there are those who cannot see, there are those who cannot hear, there are those who cannot talk. If you are able to swallow your food, there are those who cannot. If you are able to drink your water, there are those who cannot. And there are those who do not have food and do not have water. And we can go on. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to relieve the burden of the meek and the weak and the oppressed, those who are suffering at this moment everywhere. Those who are suffering, no food, no water, no shelter, no security. We're the only thing in abundance. I'm talking about the acts of the politicians. The only thing in abundance is death. قال نكر لها عرشها ننظر أن أتهتدي أم تكون من الذين لا يهتدون. So then Sayyidina Sulaiman alayhi salam said, disguise her throne for her so we may see whether she will recognize it or she will not be able to. Just simply small changes. So when she arrived, she was asked, is your throne like this? She replied, it looks to be the same, as if it is my throne, as if it is كأنه هو. وأوتينا العلم من قبلها وكنا مسلمين فلما جاءت قيل هكذا عرشك قالت كأنه هو وأوتينا العلم من قبلها وكنا مسلمين. We have already received knowledge of before this miracle, meaning of Solomon's prophethood, and have submitted to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وصدها ما كانت تعبد من دون الله إنها كانت من قوم كافرين. But she had been hindered by what she used to worship instead of Allah. I remember at the beginning, the Hopo said that they worship the sun. There were many cultures that worship whether the sun or planets, or for she was indeed from a disbelieving people. Now she was told to enter the palace. قيل ادخل الصرح فلما رأته حسبته لجة وكشفت عن ساقيها. So when she saw the hole, she thought it was a body of water, so she bared her legs. Sayyidina Sulaiman alayhi salam said, قال إنه صرح ممرد من قوارير. He said it's just a palace paved with crystal. At last she declared, My Lord, I have certainly wronged my soul. Now I fully submit myself, along with Solomon, to Allah, the Lord of all worlds. قالت ربي إني ظلمت نفسي وأسلمت مع سليمان لله رب العالمين. Obviously, Sayyidina Sulaiman alayhi salam asked those at his service to build a palace from glass, but there was running water. There was water beneath the palace. And in fact, you will find in the books of exegesis that there were even fish. So it was, when we say crystal clear, she could not see the glass itself, the crystal. And she thought that she was going to dip her legs in the water. And she simply accepted Islam. She became Muslim. And this is really وَأَسْلَمْتُ مَعَ سُلَيْمَانَ لِلَّهِ رَبِّ الْعَالَمِينَ. This language where you talk about the universal Islam, all the prophets with no exception were Muslim. Remember, for example, Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salam, ما كان إبراهيم يهوديا ولا نصرانيا ولكن حنيفا مسلما. In the following story, though we have covered, of course, these stories before, they keep showing up, different angles, different details. Now we move back to the story of Thamud. ولقد أرسلنا إلى ثمود أخاهم صالحا أن اعبدوا الله فإذا هم فريقان يختصمون. Just there is a notion that I would like, before going into the story of Thamud and Salih alayhi salam, about Dawood and Sulaiman alayhi salam. Being Muslims, we believe in their prophethood. Being Muslims, we believe that both of them, because they are prophets, they are infallible. Prophets can make judgmental mistakes, and I did say in the previous session the unacceptable things that are attributed to both of them in the Bible, in the Old Testament, in the Torah, as is today. There is one issue here. I'm talking about the issue of Jerusalem. Some books say that Dawood alayhi salam, Sayyidina Dawood, Prophet David, King David, that he conquered Yabus about 1,000 years before the Common Era, so 3,000 years ago, practically, more or less. If you are looking at Jerusalem today, they say you have the old city, which means there's a new city. People will be surprised to learn that it's only during the 19th century, late 19th century, that buildings started to be built surrounding the old city of Jerusalem. Older than that, everything was inside the old city. The governor, the court, the prison, the foreign diplomats, like emissaries, like ambassadors or what have you, the people who belong to three different faiths. Even today, after uh, Jerusalem fell under Israeli occupation in 1967, and it's going to be almost 60 years of occupation, with all the intimidation, with all the policies, with all, still the overwhelming majority of the people of the old city are still Palestinians, both Muslim and Christian. But about Dawood and Sulaiman alayhi salam, when Yabus existed, so when we talk about the Jebusites, today immediately south of the old city, which means also south of the of Al-Aqsa Mosque, that's the area of Yabus. And Sayyidina, I mean, they say that Sayyidina Dawood alayhi salam, he did not ethnically cleanse Yabus. He included the Jebusites in running the affairs of his kingdom. But that was Jerusalem. It's a small hilly area south of the old city of today. If you look at this place from Mount of Olives, like really it's a chopper view, if you will, you will see that it cannot hold until today. There might not be 70 homes in the area, and there was, of course, it was walled, and this is literally the area of the Gihon Spring and the necropolis in front of the Gihon Spring, and this was literally our playground as kids. And I saw, going through the Gihon Spring, the tunnel, I saw that there was uh, uh, a shaft that goes up. In my imagination as a kid, I said it must be because when there was a siege, they would get water from the Gihon Spring. Exactly. Today they call it the Warren Shaft, so it has to be somebody from a Westerner who would discover things that even we as kids we knew that existed, but we did not have a name for that shaft. That place is very small. That place, the manpower cannot build a city like Jerusalem. The manpower is not enough to build the city to the north. I think this is very important. Now, if you talk about archaeology, both Israeli Jewish archaeologists and Palestinian archaeologists, whether Muslim or Christian, so the Israelis and the Palestinians, they know that historically, there's no proof that Sayyidina Dawood alayhi salam was in that area. Until today, there is not even one single shred of proof that he was there. Which means there are two things here. As believers, we believe that he was a prophet uh, of Allah, Sayyidina Dawood alayhi salam. He was a prophet of God. He did exist. We believe that he did exist. We believe that Sulaiman alayhi salam is his son. But that does not mean that we believe in a narrative, in a historical narrative. That's a different story. And let me put it this way: not only the uh, Israelis politicize and weaponize archaeology, the Palestinians also do that. So the bottom line is one should keep a healthy distance, and because of one's faith, should not feel that he or she has to believe in a specific historical narrative, or even the contrary. Um because of nationalism, one should not reject a specific narrative if it's really the truth. There are Every now and then they might say something like Sayyidina Dawood alayhi salam must have visited a certain area west of Jerusalem or north of the country, north of the land. But until today, obviously, there are no proofs. Since the story of Thamud and Saleh is a bit different, and I think it's appropriate to just leave it to the next session, inshallah. Until then, subhanakallah wa bihamdik, ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.